Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cherry Cheeks and this is Cheeky Burlesque. For many performers, one of the big realities, or at least goals, is to travel. Get your name out there. Discover other scenes. What a lot of people do is they get roommates. It is likely not only going to be you who's traveling, and for those of you who travel or who want to travel or might be new to traveling, you might decide that you want to get yourself a handy dandy roommate. And for this video, I'm just going to talk about how to be a good roommate on the road, abroad, across seas. And I've talked a little bit about this already in my tips for saving money for BurlyCon. Today, I'm going to be talking more about the generic how to be a good roommate. Regardless of the reason of your travels or where you might be going, this is just good stuff to know and for you to be a good roommate. All right, let's go. Some common reasons why you might want a roommate. There is BurlyCon, Burlesque Hall of Fame, traveling to general shows that are not inside your own city, and of course, burlesque festivals. Why have roommates? Roommates are great for a number of different reasons depending on you and how you prefer to travel or how you prefer to exist. First of all, cost saving. When you go travel, regardless of the reason, if it's BurlyCon, Burlesque Hall of Fame, a festival, even if you're just doing a community show that you have a higher rate for, it still adds up for you to have to buy your own accommodations, if you have to buy your own food, travel, etc. So having a roommate is a really great way to save some of your money. It is also a great opportunity to meet new people. It is awesome getting to connect with people. I have met lots and lots of new people through roommates, especially in a more quiet, chill setting rather than all the busy networking opportunities or having to socialize with your business face on. But when you have a roommate, it's really nice because you can just hang out in your hotel room. That is something that I really appreciate personally. It is an awesome time for you to connect with friends. If you are going to a festival or show or somewhere that you see people you know from a different city that you don't get to see very often, it is awesome getting to reconnect with them, get to hang out. Roommates are great, especially if you are new traveling or going to your first time at the Burlesque Hall of Fame or BurlyCon. It means you're not alone. If it's your first time at any event or traveling opportunity, it is really great so they can be kind of your cheerleaders. You can be in it together with one another. For me, I find it's awesome knowing that I'm not alone because I know people now. I'm usually the one who pulls people along and I ask, do you want me to introduce you to anybody? Do you want me to give you your own private time so you can socialize and do what you need? It is really great having at least another person. As well, it's also good for safety, especially if you're from a marginalized community, might feel more or less safe depending on where you're traveling to, your own personal experiences. It's just nice having people in numbers if anything happens. And for accommodations, there are a couple of options. There are hotels, Airbnb, and billets. For anybody who might be unfamiliar with the idea of a billet, they are intended for people who travel to burlesque festivals or community shows. It's a local performer or person who lives in that city who's just opening up their home. Maybe it's a couch, maybe it's a bedroom. They're opening it up for traveling performers to come and stay there during their stay in that town. It's really nice if you're trying to save money. Have somebody else who knows the city who can recommend areas for you to check out, maybe tourist things, maybe they are just good for letting you know how far it is to get to the venue from their house. And for this video specifically, I'm going to be focusing on the hotels and the Airbnb types of accommodations where you book your own rooms and spaces, but billeting is also a great option, and a lot of what I'm talking about in this video is also going to be applicable. So how do you find roommates? Depending on the reason you are traveling, if you are going to the Burlesque Hall of Fame or the BurlyCon convention, those two have actual groups that are really, really great for people to post in, ask questions about, give advice about. It is a great option for anybody to join if you are planning on going to those events. I see people who post all the time leading up to those events or even festivals who say they're looking for roommates or are wondering if anyone already has a room they can join. That's a really great opportunity if you are somebody who's a little bit more adventurous. If you're okay with hanging out with people you don't know, they're also really great for you to ask questions of where's the best place to stay. If you're going to a burlesque festival, often burlesque festivals also create their own private performer groups for people of that specific year. So again, Really great place for you to post. You might also just know people going to. If you see someone else is in that festival or that show or going to BurlyCon that you're friends with, that's the easiest option, is just to reach out and see if they want to room together. That's usually nowadays my preferred method, messaging people I don't get to see all the time who I know are going to places I'm going. And if you're traveling to a festival or a community show somewhere, often you can check in with the producer, ask them if they either have billets available, if you might be able to stay with them. Not so much with festivals, but at least with community shows that invite performers in to perform. Often I've had experiences where those producers are willing to open up their own home. Sometimes they have a friend already planned to say, like, we have a place for you to stay. And so if you have roommates, if you are ready to go and you are coming up on the festival or the show, here are some key things for you to know before you get there. First of all, I confirm the booking sooner rather than later. I prefer to get everything in line as soon as possible, even though my brain often tries to push things and tries to do things closer to. I find it's actually smarter, and I've had the least amount of headaches when I plan early rather than the week or 2 weeks before an event. So I try to confirm in advance really early, as soon as I know who I'm staying with. For roommates, do we want to do an Airbnb? Do we want to do a hotel? How do we want to pay? When is payment due? Is there a budget? Is there a specific space we want to stay in? If you want to stay close to downtown or if you want to stay in a quiet area. It's also important to confirm what dates everybody is staying. Sometimes people will want to stay for, say, the entire weekend. Some people can only stay for one day. And then that way you can also do the math. How much money is everyone gonna pay, rather than dividing it completely in half or completely evenly. Also, actually book your spaces early. So as soon as you know the details of what your roommates and you want to do, book it. You don't know if things are going to sell out or anything's going to change, or if you have specific accessibility needs where you might have to have an accessible hotel room or space booked. Those might be limited, so I make sure to get anything booked as soon as possible, as soon as I know I'm going, so that it's less stress for me later. Admittedly, I'm not the best at this, but I'm practicing. I say it's useful to confirm money situation stuff. How are people paying? How much does everybody owe, including the taxes on your hotel rooms? When is payment due from everybody? Whoever booked the space, do they want to get payment before the trip, during the trip, after the trip? Everyone's different with their preferences. Confirm how they want payment. If you are traveling, especially with people from different countries from each other, certain things like Venmo, Cash App, e-transfer, those only work in those specific countries. Usually cash or PayPal is the best option for me. Again, there's different options depending on where people are coming from. And whoever books your room or your Airbnb, make sure they get everybody's legal names and puts those names on that booking, so that if you're coming in at different times, then anybody who arrives can check in. They don't have to have the original booker to be with them to get keys or to get in. And also confirming whoever's going to be the first person arriving, are they okay with having their credit card on the room for things like the deposit? Okay, now you've arrived. You are at BurlyCon. You are at the Burlesque Hall of Fame. You have gotten to your destination for a festival. Wherever you are for your travels, you have arrived. And usually what I like to do when I first arrive at a festival or somewhere with my roommates and we gather for the first time, I like to just kind of go over any kind of room expectations. Do we have a quiet room, or are we into partying? If we buy snacks, are they open to everybody, or are they only for that specific person? Are there any allergies that we should know about, like scents or peanuts? Anything else that I should not be doing in the room that can affect somebody else's health? And also, it's useful to communicate any important details, especially if you have roommates who might be involved with performing, teaching at BurlyCon, and confirming whether or not they need a specific day for quiet or a specific night for quiet because they have to prepare, or any of that kind of information, and just respecting each other's schedules. We all have different schedules. Some people are a lot more in the moment. Some people prefer to plan everything. Some people are busy, and some people might just have one thing on one day and then pretty flexible the rest. And it's super helpful to have some mode of communication with your roommates, whether that is Messenger, an Instagram group, WhatsApp, any kind of forum that can have a group chat is super helpful if something happens, if someone maybe lost an item, is looking for it, lost their key, and it wants to see if someone's in the room when they go back there. Super helpful to have a communication channel that is open to everybody. And it's really useful as well. I say this all the time in my videos involving travel and BurlyCon. If you have roommates, it's great to share things like taxis and Ubers and going to grocery stores to, again, like save costs on the travel pieces in town. If your hotel room or Airbnb has a fridge, super great for all of you to save more money is if you buy your own groceries. And on the piece of communication, sticky notes are great. I love sticky notes. If you have something like, maybe I bought myself a whole bag of chips or a whole bag of snacks, I'll just write a sticky note on the table to say like food for everybody. Or if I'm gonna be gone for the day, I might leave a sticky note saying gone all day, help yourself to the room type situation. Those are things I can also say in the group chat, but it can be nice for really quick things if someone's not on social media or on the group as much. And one thing to know when you have roommates, whether they're people you know who are friends already or if they're brand new, everybody has different ways of existing and organizing and creating a space for themselves. Some people might be very orderly and need cleanliness. Some people might just explode and put their clothes all over the room. Some people are more quiet. Some people might be louder and more party focused. Some people are social. Some people are introverted, etc. That is something that is super important to know. Being mindful that everybody exists differently and has different needs. Make sure you're respecting how a person shows up in the world or in your room. And one thing that I have found for me at times to be really helpful is to have kind of what's the common areas of the room. So maybe the bathroom, maybe the the floor area, but then the bed is considered like the private kind of area or the personal kind of area. So having those more common publicly kind of spots, try to have them organized or at least like clear so people can walk through them okay. But then places like maybe the closet, maybe the bed, maybe a specific area in the bathroom can be designated to each person. If they are someone who needs to explode and needs to put their stuff everywhere, then they have that space at least for them to do that without, again, impacting somebody else. Or if you're someone who needs more like structure and clean spaces, then again, you're gonna not be micromanaging somebody else's life. This is an interesting one. So just a reminder that if you have roommates, it means your privacy is very restricted. I have had situations, both personally and with other people I've heard about, who have walked in on their roommates who thought they were alone having some cheeky time. If you are having fun times with somebody or by yourself, let them know, hey, can I please have some private time in the room for an hour or two? Because it can be very awkward if people walk into the room unsuspectingly. Everybody's an adult, you can make your own decisions, but make sure the other people are at least informed of any consensual pieces going on. And if you are somebody who gets impacted easily or disorientated, maybe you're an introvert and you're just burnt out from socializing, maybe you just had some personal life stuff going on completely unrelated to your trip, it's really helpful for you to have your own grounding techniques or your own plan to take care of yourself and practice self-care on your trip. Things like making sure you're eating, even if that's a light snack. Make sure you're drinking water. Personally, I make sure to bring electrolytes with me to keep my energy up. Some people, that can be bringing fidget toys with you on your trip or something to do with your hands like knitting. It can look like having special bath items, or if you even know there's a quiet space in your Airbnb or place you're staying, knowing you have at least that space to go to if you need to be by yourself. And last but not least, don't forget to have fun. I know so many people who do different things when they're traveling, especially if they know people they might be traveling with, or maybe they want to have more of the theme of travel. I know people who have bought decorations, who have decorated the hotel rooms really fun. I know people who've bought lights, go on trips and go out to sightsee or go to shows and events or whatever, hang out, even just for dinner, hang out with your roommates, because it is super awesome to make those memories and have a good time. And some people do prefer to just literally have someone as a roommate and nothing else. They don't want to socialize. That is okay if that's you, but also it's super cool when you can get those opportunities to hang out. And now I'm curious, I'm gonna put it back to you. If you have traveled before and if you have experience as a roommate for BurlyCon, the Burlesque Hall of Fame, festivals, shows, whatever, what advice, tips, tricks, anything, even just vibes, what do you like to do when you travel with roommates? Leave it down below in the comments, and make sure to subscribe if you want to learn more about burlesque, travel, producing, performing, skills, costuming, anything related to burlesque and performance, because I do have quite a few videos on all of the topics. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!